President Trump's position is really clear. I think he came out an outing recently, a couple of days ago, and said 99% of what we want is that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I think we can go around all the fight between around the bush, but I think that is the crux of the matter. According to President Trump and many presidents past, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. Now, is Iran willing to give that up? I don't know. I think that's a stalemate in this negotiation. So I'm not sure what their own points are. They're talking about other things or reparations, payment of damages, or control the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, those things are important to Iran. But I think Trump has been pretty clear. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I mean, you don't have to go back to last year. You have to go back to 1980 when he's been making the statements. You have to look at other American presidents who have made that statement. So I don't know that it's that ambiguous. And I think, at least from President Trump's point of view, it is clear what he wants. And Iran, it's clear, but they have more points and they have more demands. So I don't know where we go from here. Iran, I think they still want to reserve the right to enrich uranium, and they'll be going against Trump's wish for the end to this war. So, where do you think? I say this as someone who doesn't really know where this goes from there, because I think President Trump has been pretty clear about Iran not having a nuclear weapon. Where do we go from here? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I just to I think it's important to clarify that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. Iran is not in the process of
Right.
acquiring a nuclear weapon. Iran simply enriched uranium, which is different from wanting to acquire nuclear weapon. I think for me,
Right.
that is where the ambiguity is with Trump's
Right.
demand, right? Are you saying that Iran cannot enrich uranium at all, which is Iran's right to do? Or are you saying that they cannot develop a nuclear weapon? Those are two separate, independent things.
They're intricably
Enrich,
related to each
again,
other.
it's ambiguous. Iran,
It's not.
Donald Trump
I
needs
don't
to
know.
be specifically clear. Are you saying I cannot enrich, or are you saying I cannot develop a nuclear weapon? For me, those are two separate things. Because again, uranium is not only used for nuclear weapons. Uranium are used for medical reasons.
Sixty
They are,
percent
they
uranium.
are used. I mean, you are in the medical field. You would probably know better, right?
I
Used for
don't. Yeah.
cancer treatment and other kinds of treatment. So, are you saying that Iran should abandon its capacity to enrich uranium to a certain extent needed in their energy development and for health reasons, or are you saying that they cannot develop nuclear weapons? Because if you say they cannot enrich, Iran continues to insist that it is a right of the Iranian state to enrich uranium within the limits of international law. The agreement which they had with Obama said 3%, they enrich uranium up until 3%, right? So I think Donald Trump is eventually going to end up with a JCPOA a part 2, which is okay. You would have to enrich to a certain degree. Maybe they say 2% just because it cannot be 3 because Obama had 3%. Maybe they say 1% because again, but Iran continues to insist that they have a right to enrich uranium within the limits of whatever law that you want to put in place, right? So again, I think Donald Trump needs to be really clear. Are we talking about nuclear weapons, which Iran doesn't have and does not intend to have? Or are we talking about enrichment, which is a whole separate thing, in my opinion? I know you disagree. You think it's one thing, but in my opinion, these are two
Right.
separate
No.
issues. So
I mean, yeah.
I do agree with you that this is the bone of contention. Everything else is secondary. The
Right.
primary issue between Iran and the United States is not the Strait of Hormuz, is not anything else but the nuclear issue. I think that is the biggest obstacle for
Right.
any resolution of
Yeah. So that's why I think all the 15-point plan, 20-point plan, 10-point plan, it doesn't mean anything because this is the crux of the issue.
yeah.
the ability to develop nuclear weapon. And sure, where we disagree is the uranium part. You say Iran is not, or they don't have the right. Sure, they do have a right. 3% uranium is what was given them by the IACA. They said that is enough for civilian use, for
Right.
medical use, for whatever I use it. But recent data shows that they're at 60%.
Mhm.
And Trump is concerned. And according to Trump and his negotiators with Kaf and Kushner, they said Iran said we have what, 440 kgs of uranium that we are ready to produce 11 bombs. So that's what they
That
said.
could,
And
that could,
apparently
that could.
that
Let's
could.
use the language
But
properly. That could be
of
used,
course that
and
that,
that's
that
the
could
point.
be yes.
It's not a
That
threat. It's just a statement of
it
fact
is.
that was stated.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be repeating ourselves again because we've
No, we are
discussed this,
not. We
but
are going to move on. We are going to move on.
oh, yeah. I mean, it is vague. If they put 3% and you go to 60%, okay, the question becomes like, why are you? Why? And then more to that, you're concealing it away from international observers. So it's a legitimate question to ask. Why are you up to 60%? So, obviously, the Trump administration views that differently.